Okay, today we're going to dive into a story. It's a simple one, but it's also incredibly powerful. It's all about how to find a little bit of calm in a world that, is always pulling for our attention. Think of it as a modern parable with a timeless secret for anyone with a restless mind. His mind was like a storm. I mean, have you ever felt that? That feeling like your thoughts are just a whirlwind, totally out of your control? I think most of us can relate to that on some level. And that feeling, that's really the heart of our story. It's our starting point. So let's get into the problem here, the restless mind. We meet our main character, a guy named Marco. He's 24, and, if you looked at him from the outside, you'd think everything's totally fine. But on the inside, it's a different story. He's completely trapped by the nonstop noise in his own head. And this is a perfect picture of his mental trap. His mind is like a pendulum, right? It's just endlessly swinging back and forth. On one side, he's stuck being sad about the past, replaying old mistakes and regrets. On the other side, he's just completely worried about the future, anxiously imagining everything that could go wrong. And in all this swinging back and forth, he's missing the only place where life is actually happening, right now. And this mental storm, well, it came with a real price. This wasn't just some vague feeling. It was costing him. He was always feeling uneasy and just exhausted. He couldn't find a moment of calm. His sleep was a mess. He'd even forgotten how to genuinely smile. I mean, his inner chaos was completely spilling over and affecting his everyday life. So, we come to his quest, his journey for peace. Marco basically hits a breaking point. He realizes he just can't keep living like this. He has to find an answer. So he sets off on this quest. But he's not looking for money or fame or anything like that. He's searching for something way more valuable, a little bit of peace and quiet inside his own head. And his first glimmer of hope comes from something he hears, a story about this wise old man. Apparently, he used to be a psychologist, but now he's living this simple, quiet life up in the hills. For Marco, this guy represents a whole different way of living, a possibility of escape. So he decides, I've got to go find him. All right, now we get to the core of the story, the test. This is my favorite part. When Marco finally finds this wise man, he doesn't get a lecture. He's not handed a book to read, nope. Instead, he's given a task, a very simple, very real, physical test. And here's the instruction he gets. The old man tells him, walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back. But remember, you must not spill even one drop of water. And to make it a real challenge, the wise man fills a glass with water right to the very, very top, so full that the tiniest little jiggle would send it spilling over. The task is simple, but the rule is strict. Not a single drop. So, as Marco is walking, he's surrounded by, well, life. The world he's walking through is anything but quiet. There are kids playing, dogs are barking all over the place, you've got shopkeepers shouting out to customers, people running around on a busy road. It's total sensory overload. But Marco, he ignores all of it. He doesn't even notice. He gets back to the wise man, and he hasn't spilled a single drop. Not one. He did it. He passed the test. But he doesn't get it yet. In his mind, all he's done is prove that he can be really, really careful. Okay, and here it is, the revelation, the big aha moment. Because the wise man, he doesn't really care that Marco didn't spill the water. What he wants to know is what was going on inside Marco's head while he was carrying that glass. So the wise man asks him a couple of simple questions. He says, did you see the children playing on the side of the road? Did you hear the dogs barking? He's poking at Marco's experience, trying to get him to see what just happened, not with the glass, but with his mind. And Marco just replies, no, I was only focusing on the glass. That's it. He was so completely zeroed in on that one task that everything else just vanished. There was no room in his brain for anything else. And the wise man tells him, that is the secret. When your mind stays in the present moment, then there is no space for fear, no confusion, and no extra thoughts. See, the peace Marco was so desperate to find wasn't something he had to go out and get. It was what was already there when his mind was too busy to worry. That mental storm, it just can't form when you're completely anchored in the now. So, that's the story. But let's talk about the takeaway for us. Because the real power of this parable is how we can bring it into our own lives.
You don't have to go find a wise man on a hill to find your own glass of water.
Really, it's about redefining what peace even is. Peace is not something you go out and find. It's not out there somewhere. It's what already exists inside you, the moment you decide to live in the present. It's our natural state when we stop the mental time travel.
So, how can you find your own stillness? Well, here's a simple way to practice. First, find your task. Choose one single point of focus. It can be anything: your breath, a sound in the room, even a physical object. Step 2, you do the walk. Dedicate all of your attention to that one thing, just like Marco did with the glass of water. And third, this is the most important part: the result. Your mind is going to wander to the past or the future. When it does, you just gently guide it back. That's it. That's the whole practice. Finding your quiet in that gentle return. So, I'll leave you with this one last thought. A question, really. Right now, in this very second, where is your focus? Is it stuck on something that happened yesterday? Are you worried about tomorrow? Or is it right here? Because the answer to that question, well, that's the whole secret, isn't it?